All right, we got a market recap today for Wednesday, August 5th. I personally took a break-even trade this morning. Took a long up here that got break-evened. Um, we ended up not actually delivering, so it was a good break-even, and then there was a potential short that I was considering maybe taking down here, but the opportunity just wasn't present for me to actually slap on risk for a short. But getting into the daily bias, why I took this initial long up here off market open. This is what we look like coming into the market open. Um, we had this 4 hour gap and we are also displacing higher. This is what the high time frames look like on NQ. And this is just the most typical, obvious high time frame market maker buy model. Reacting out of this monthly imbalance, clear displacement higher. All this generated low resistance liquidity on the daily time frame that it looks like we're going to go run. Also keeping in mind that ES is already at all-time highs and in price discovery. So everything is pointing bullish, but coming into the morning, we had this big 4 hour gap. Obviously, the next target is higher up here, but we have this big 4 hour gap and we have yet to retrace. We can see this big displacement. We have yet to have had a retrace in the past 4 to 5 trading days. And so it makes sense to potentially get a retrace to the nearest high time frame gap before continuing higher to these relative equal highs on the daily chart. So that's what I was looking for coming into the morning. You can see I have this daily high marked out. I'm just going to go full screen in Q. And then this dashed line right here is actually the first high. I'd honestly expect all these three highs to get run at the same time. So I have the last one marked with the solid line because that's like the ultimate high. And then I also have the first high marked out just with the dashed line. Um, so that because if we take the first high, I don't want to be taking a long after that point in time, because I'd expect them all three to get run at the same time. So that's what I have marked out here. And then I also have this internal high from the pre-market range marked out as well. And so at this point in time, it's like, okay, are we going to continue higher first, or are we going to get a rebalance to the 4 hour gap before continuing higher? So if I'm going to take a long off market open, I need to see us break out of this pre-market range in order to have confidence in slapping on a long. And that's what we originally did. You can see the original move up, and it was simply based off of this 5 minute candle close, the first 5 minute candle of market open. Boom, we get pre-market displacement. The first 5 minute candle follows through above the internal high, and it looks like we're just going to get a pretty straight line to move up towards this daily buy side liquidity. So my entry was the next 5 minute candle opens up and comes down a little bit, and I simply just entered off of that with a big safe stop loss all the way below the nearest pre-market low. So this was about 100 point stop loss. The take profit was 95 points. I'm trading an eval, trying to half past the remaining portion of it. I only need a 1-to-1, so not trying to get too cute with it. And we get a big retrace, and then we come back up to the internal high. The way that I trade, I always go break even at the internal highs, and then so we take the internal high. You can see we wick it out a couple times and we get break even. We come back down to my entry point and get break even. Now price did end up coming and following through to that first high, but you can see we failed to deliver towards the last high in the range. Like I said, I would expect all of these to get run at the same time. And so the trade failed to play out, and I got break even. So basically, just protected myself. So it was a good break even from my perspective. And the reason I was so aggressive with that entry is because of the context around the trade. The high time frame context is telling me I know that we are in a high time frame bullish model. I know that ES is at all-time highs. I also know the past couple days have been very volatile and a very sharp move up. There's a lot of headlines about AI, and I don't want to get too deep into the fundamental analysis because I more stick to the technicals, but I know that there's also very strong fundamentals that's causing this increase in volume, this sharp move up as well. And it would make sense, especially based off the way that the charts looked coming into the market open, based off that first 5-minute candle close, that we would have just maintained this volume and continued higher to this next high. So I had reasonings for taking an aggressive entry here, because this is an aggressive entry, because there's technically no quote unquote low time frame protection. There's no low time frame model. I'm simply taking this based off of the high time frame model and a range breakout from the pre-market range. Does it make sense to be aggressive here? Yes, I believe so. And it got break even, so nothing to complain about there. And then after it gets break even, we chop around, low volume, low volatility, and then I'm kind of half watching the charts at this point in time because of how much price slowed down, knowing that there's potential that we do end up after failing higher, there's potential that we end up selling off to this 4-hour gap. So I was looking to potentially go short here after running through this 15-minute fair value gap. I wanted a better 15-minute candle close here. This is something I was considering taking, but once again, like I said, just not the best candle closes. It's low volatility after the first initial move higher fails, and also I want the entry to be perfect if I'm going to be shorting in a market where high time frame wise everything is pointing bullish. Yes, it makes sense to get a rebalance here, like I've said, but I want to make sure that entry is perfect. If the entry isn't perfect, then I'm not going to go against the high time frames, and the entry just simply wasn't perfect for me to be targeting lower. And you can see the break-even point would have been rejected, and had I even entered here, it would have been break-even after rejecting this internal low. So do we come down and tap this 4-hour gap? Who knows? But I personally, it doesn't matter to me. I don't care what we do anymore because I'm done for the morning. And so yeah, done for the morning, and it doesn't matter what we do from this point on. Could we tap it? Yeah. Could we not tap it? I guess so. I think the highest likelihood is that we do tap it, get some sort of rebalance after this strong move up, get some sort of rebalance before continuing higher. I think that's what makes the most sense. But yeah, wasn't able to trade yesterday, and a break-even trade today, so it's still a good week, a good day of executing, and a good day of following my rules. So can't complain, and I really can't complain. I did all that I could do coming to the market open, and that's all I can do every day. Just control what I can control. Today I felt like I controlled what I could control, break even, and that's that. So that's all I got for today, Wednesday. We still got Thursday, Friday of this trading week. We have unemployment claims pre-market tomorrow, and then NFP pre-market Friday. That should bring some volatility, and hopefully we get some good opportunity to execute. But if not, doesn't matter to me because I know eventually I will have another day next week if we don't get another good day to execute on this week. So that's all I got. Appreciate you watching. That's the market recap. In a good headspace right now, and the goal is just to keep this positive snowball rolling and just putting one foot in front of the other each and every day that I come into the market. That's all I can do, and I know that it'll pay dividends in the future. So we will see what kind of opportunity presents itself later on in the week. Appreciate you watching. Let me know if you took a trade or not, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Peace.